Okay, so Bezras Hashem, we're going to be continuing with our shirim on Rav Kook's Parish on Adon Olam. And what we're finally coming up to is an inflection point in the tefillah, where after describing all of the mechanics, so to speak, of how HaKadosh Baruch Hu functions as creator before creation, during creation, after creation, and more significantly, the generalized collection of all of those expressions, all possible expressions, from the loftiest to the lowest, all of them in relationship to the unspeakable, ungraspable, untouchable source of all things, which is the essence, so to speak, of godliness. Rav Kook is spending so much time making this delicate, fundamental separation between that essence which remains ever present, yet beyond speech, beyond grasp, where silence is the only way to grasp it, and the Haya Hoivav Yihiyeh, the before creation, where it was the potential towards manifestation, manifestation itself during creation, and the return of manifestation back up to a place prior to manifestation, all of that Haya Hoivav Yihiyeh, that which happened before, during, and after, is all literally nothing in relationship to the essence, so to speak, of godliness, which remains ever present. What we're going to find after this paragraph is really Rav Kook now bringing these lofty, transcendent, psychological and philosophical ideas about godliness and bringing it down into a sense where it has a relationship, a deep relationship with each and every individual in their own individualized lives. So the Tefillah continues, Bali Reishis, Bali Tachlis, Velo Ha'oz V'Hamishra. So again, Rav Kook here is going to be reaffirming for us the fact that all of it, the beginning, the middle, and the end, the Haya Hoy V'Viniyah, the highest, the middle, and the lowest, all of them are null and void in relationship to the absolute essence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In spite of the fact that we have been speaking about the beginning of existence in their supernal root, and we also have spent time speaking about their end and their teleological arrival at their purpose at the end of all things, and its revert back up to its source. We know fundamentally that the beginning and the end, neither of them have any relative positioning or real value in their limitation and their changes in relationship to the unchanging and the unlimited source of all things, which is HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'choved v'atzmo. V'im kol hasiluk shel kol hayachas shel shinui v'reishis v'achris me'archo ha'elyon. And after we have spent all of this time negating the possibility of any possibility of relationship or connection between the change and the beginningness and the end from the rooted space of the essence, so to speak, we've spent so much time, says Rav Kook, removing all of those, cleansing the possibility of the infinite from all of those limiting notions, all of those limiting factors, whether they be by thought or by speech. We spend so much time being misalik, all of the relational positions, to the ercho ha'elyon, to the elevated source, which is ascendant and transcendent of all naming or description, when we call inyan shel erech u'muhus, and from any relational kind of relationship between this and something else or its essence. Hine rak lo haoz. After all is said and done, after we have removed all possible limitations from the essence of godliness, so to speak, Rav Kook returns to remind us that nevertheless, it still continues to be present in, with, and in every aspect of existence. Meaning to say, there is an interdiction against grasping atzmusa yisbarach by way of thought, language, or action, God forbid. But in the ultimate truth of things, what we have to recognize is that underneath it all, saturating it all, surrounding it all, is the essence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is everywhere revealed. Lo ha'oz, he has the strength, shel hamsas havayos v'adamsaim kulam, to give shape and to give space to existence and all of its manifoldness, meireshus ve'arachros, from the beginning until the end, v'loy hamishra, and he has the governance, he has the kingship, he is related, so to speak, the essence, so to speak, which remains beyond the grasp on any level, is still ever present. The inability and the impossibility of grasping atzmus yisbarach does not for a second, God forbid, for even a moment, take away the relationship that atzmus yisbarach kavyachol has with everything and everything that emerges in existence itself. He has the strength of the emergence of all of existence and anything that is found, from the beginning to the end, from before creation till after, and he has the power to direct them, to allow existence and all of its manifoldness, from the Haya, Hoiva, and Yihya, the Shem Havaya HaKolelis, that we understand as simply the Gilui of Or Ein Sof, like we spoke about in the beginning, but not Ein Sof Kavyachol, never touching the essence itself. It has the power to direct them in all of their journeys, in all of the 42 journeys that each and every person goes through and existence goes through, meaning to say the generalized infinitude of it all does not negate for one iota of a second from the particularized finitude of it all, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is present in every aspect of our lives, in all of its descent and all of its change, and all of the entanglement and all of the confusing passages in which existence in its generalized form, and the kuma and the sheer kuma of Metzius, and the koyach hagvul, the bilti gvul that emerges in the haya hoiva v'niya, all of that in relationship to the infinite essence, in spite of the fact that there's no relation whatsoever. Nevertheless, it is fundamentally surrounded by and subsumed by the essence that we can't speak of. In all of their standings and all of their positionings, in all of the eventual ascent upwards that arrives at the end, towards the final and elevated purpose, that is rooted in holiness and ascendancy, and it's only Chvaydu v'atzmo kavyachol, HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'chvaydu v'atzmo, the Eibishter, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, only He in His absolute essence, which remains removed away from any possible limitation, that is the driving force towards the Goyrel HaNetzach, towards the fundamental lot that will be present forever. This is in the absolute power that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has. No beginning and no end whatsoever. It's all of existence from the very beginningness of beginning. From the elevated heights of Shemayim to the depths of the abysmal spaces, to ensure that everything will eventually arrive at its perpetually elevated status, where it's supposed to come to, things will go there. It is the thought of creation, is the thought of perfection that is driving everything. The place where all desire and yearning comes from, because only a person who knows that everything is ultimately rooted in Ein Oid Milvado Kipshuto Mashma'o, even the Haya Hoiva V'Diya, even the Gvulim and all of the Siddharim that we understand from the Tzimtzum and Lamata, all of that is not nechshav as anything, Bechlal as anything in relationship to the perspective of Atzmus Yisbarach, of that Shem Havaya Ha'atzmi B'li Oisios Kavyachol. But in the end of the day, that rooted space that we never have access to, that's kula kaima kiloi chashive and loy chashive. In the end of the day, it's directing everything. Makor hatzapia kula, it gives us strength to continue to hope. Hamisnasa l'choil l'rosh, that which is ascendant above everything. It is non-relational, but nevertheless, it is present in every aspect. So what we have now, finally, preparing us to go on to the personal journey of the neshama in relationship to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is a clarification of terms that yes, everything we speak about is already considered to be limited and only a revelation of the essence and not the essence, so to speak. And then Rav Kook takes all the delicate time necessary, like the surgeon of spirituality that he was, to disconnect any possibility of trying to grasp that which remains ever above graspability in its absolute essence, and revealing the interconnectivity between the two, so that now when we descend into the particular life of the soul, we're going to realize how it is rooted directly in the loftiest points of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's relationship with us. And very often the way of relating to it is a way of not knowing. Be'ezras Hashem.